No, it doesn't, but I don't want to debate.
Think about it.
Thinking about it, Jimmy.
What's going on, everybody? So this is the last Oscar video I'm going to be doing before the live Oscar stream that I'm going to be doing with the boys next Sunday on February 9th. So just a quick chill. Make sure to be there if you want to join us for the Oscars on February 9th at around 8:15, 8:30ish, around that time. We won't be starting right when the Oscars start, but it'll be maybe, like I said, 15 to 30 minutes in. And, yeah, so this is the last Oscar video, and this is the one where I give my official permanent predictions on who I think will be winning in each category. There's only a few categories that I won't be doing, that I won't be announcing in this video, and they're like the best documentary short, best animated short, stuff like that. I'm gonna come to those conclusions on the day of, and, just because, like, you know, nobody really knows who's gonna win those more or less. You kind of just have to go with the odds on those. And, yeah, so no more precursors. Let's just get right into this, and let's start with these nomination predictions. So this year is actually quite tough, to be honest, in terms of, you know, trying to predict who's going to win, because there's only maybe like one or two locks, like one or two actual locks that I think just like aren't going to budge, and it's near 100% guaranteed, who I think is going to win in that category. The rest are really like 50-50 or just completely up for grabs. But okay, let's start small with Best Adapted Screenplay. So, Best Adapted Screenplay, you got The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Little Women, and The Two Popes. This one I don't think is quite difficult, but, you know, it's definitely not a given. But I think that's going to go to Little Women. Those who have watched this channel know that I'm not really a fan of that film all that much, but I think Little Women just has the best chance of winning that award. I mean, it could go to The Irishman, and, you know, it could go to Joker, I guess. Jojo Rabbit, unfortunately, like, spoiler alert, I didn't predict Jojo Rabbit to win anything, and that kind of sucks because I do kind of want it to win something. I think it maybe does deserve to win Best Adapted Screenplay, but I just think Little Women is going to beat out all the other nominees. So. Let's move on to Best Original Screenplay. So, Best Original Screenplay, you got Knives Out, Marriage Story, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite. So, this one's quite tough, guys. To be honest, this is really just between Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and Parasite, in my opinion. It could really go either or. And, I picked Parasite to win. I think that it's most deserving. And I do think that it also just, you know, has the most hype to win that category. But I would not be surprised at all to see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood come out of the woodwork and snag it. I wouldn't really be that upset because I do think it's a great screenplay. But, you know, honestly, I think maybe even a film like Marriage Story could be more deserving than that film. But I think Parasite is more deserving than all of them. And I do think the Oscars at the end of the day is going to go with that one. So, okay, let's move on to Best Makeup and Hairstyling. So this one, again, like, this is not really a given, but you got Bombshell, Joker, Judy, Maleficent, and 1917. I'm going to pick Bombshell. I think that has the most hype to win. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if, like, Joker came out of nowhere and won it. I know that a lot of people would be upset at that because they're just like, what? It's fucking clown makeup and green hair. Whoop-de-doo. But, I wouldn't be surprised if it won it, and I wouldn't really be all that mad anyway, because, I mean, whatever. I really love Joker, and whatever. Okay, so let's move on to Best Costume Design. For Best Costume Design, you have The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Little Women, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I picked Little Women to win that award. I honestly, I wouldn't say that this is a lock, but I think it's like 90 to 95% chance that Little Women is going to win that award, just because period pieces tend to win those awards like all the time, and they definitely are going to want to give Little Women something. So I think that they're going to give Best Costume Design to Little Women. All right, moving on. Best Cinematography. So this one I feel like is a lock. You have The Irishman, Joker, The Lighthouse. Awesome shout out to The Lighthouse, the only award that it got nominated in, which is a fucking shame. 1917 and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So I picked 1917 to win. Just the whole like one shot sequence gimmick thing. I don't mean gimmick to like dilute it. I think it's absolutely brilliant in the film. And I think it's really well utilized. But I do think that Roger Deakins is going to get himself another Academy Award for this film. So let's move on to Best Original Song. I Can't Let You Throw Yourself Away from Toy Story 4. I'm Gonna Love Me Again, Rocket Man. I'm Standing With You, Breakthrough. Into the Unknown, Frozen 2, and Stand Up, Harriet. I think I'm Gonna Leave Me... I'm Gonna... Leave Me. I think I'm Gonna Love Me Again from Rocket Man is going to take that award. Just because it's a musical film. And Rocket Man... Honestly, I'm surprised that Rocket Man didn't get more awards. At least get nominated for more awards, which I'm not upset about it or anything, but it just had a lot of hype and a lot of praise, so I thought it would get more. But I think they're gonna give that one to Rocket Man. So let's move on to Best Original Score. So Best Original Score, we got Joker, Little Women, Marriage Story, 1917, and Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. So I picked Joker to win this. I wouldn't say this is a lock or anything, but I think Joker definitely has the highest chance of winning here, and I'm pretty confident with this pick. Little Women, it could win just because it's Alexandre Duplat. I don't know. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but he's won Oscars before for his scores, and I can see them maybe perhaps giving that to him as well this time around. But I think Joker in terms of score, it has been winning in previous award ceremonies, so I think they'll go ahead and give it to Joker for best score. All right, so best foreign language film. This one I think is a lock. This one, there's just no way. I'm pretty like this is like 100% guaranteed. Who's gonna win this category? So you got Corpus Christi from Poland, Honeyland from North Macedonia, Les Miserables from France, Pain and Glory from Spain, and Parasite from South Korea. Obviously, Parasite's gonna win that. If it doesn't, that would just be like, at that point, hell's gonna freeze over or something, because that just makes absolutely no sense. So Parasite is going to win that category. And then, okay, so now we're gonna do some technicals with the sound. So you have sound editing and sound mixing. For sound editing, you got Ford v Ferrari, Joker, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. I think Ford v Ferrari is gonna take sound editing. Kind of a bold choice because I think it's safer to pick 1917 for both sound mixing and sound editing. But for Ford v Ferrari, I'm gonna give that award to sound editing. Because I just think that it's, I've seen Ford v Ferrari, that I think it's just an average standard movie, but the sound editing in that film was pretty, I mean, it was really delicately and meticulously placed, especially for a really immersive race car movie. And it's gotten a lot of buzz in the sound department, so I think they'll give one sound award to Ford v Ferrari, and I think that's going to be sound editing. So for sound mixing, you got Ad Astra, Ford v Ferrari, Joker, 1917, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So don't get me wrong, I would like to see Ad Astra win something, because that's the only award that they got nominated for. I just don't think it has enough buzz or enough hype or enough appreciation to really get it, unfortunately. So I think 1917 is going to get sound mixing. So let's move on from sound mixing to production design. So for production design, you got The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite. So I think 1917 is going to win production design. I think Once Upon a Time in Hollywood could steal that award, like it has a chance. But the production design in 1917 is it's incredible. It's really just like out of this world. Everything felt incredibly realistic, and it's just so detailed. And none of the props felt like they were fake or just like, movie-like. It just felt incredibly natural and real. And it's just really meticulous. And I think that they're going to give that award to 1917. All right. So let's see what else we got here. All right. So we got Best Film Editing. So Best Film Editing, you got Ford v Ferrari, The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, and Parasite. This one is kind of a toss-up. I can see Ford v Ferrari winning that. I can even see like The Irishman winning that. I don't really see Jojo Rabbit winning that, but I can even see Joker winning that. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna go with Parasite. I think that again, Parasite just has enough hype to really win that award and to win a few awards here. But yeah, I'm gonna give that award to Parasite. And okay, so best visual effects, we have Avengers Endgame, The Irishman, The Lion King, 1917, and Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. This one also isn't really a gimme. This one's kind of up in the air, to be honest. But I'm gonna go with the Avengers Endgame. You know, I always pick the Avengers and I always pick the superhero movies to win these awards, and like it never happens. And I feel like I'm gonna fail myself again here by picking the Avengers. But I have a feeling that the one time that I don't pick the Avengers, that they're gonna pick it. So it's like I just can't win with this anymore. But I think that honestly, like 1917 could win it. The Lion King could come out and win it too, because that film was completely all visual effects, and I could see it winning that. But I'm gonna give that to the Avengers Endgame. All right, what else we got here? All right, Best Supporting Actress. You have Kathy Bates for Richard Jewell, Laura Dern for Marriage Story, Scarlett Johansson for Jojo Rabbit, Florence Pugh for Little Women, and Margot Robbie for Bombshell. I'm gonna go with Laura Dern for Marriage Story. She gives an incredible performance in that film, and also I just think there's more hype around that, around her character in that film. Honestly, I think that's probably the only award that Marriage Story is going to win throughout the entire night. You know, it's a little unfortunate, but you know, for those who watch my channel, like I think Marriage Story is a pretty damn good movie, but you know, I guess I don't think it's as masterful or as fantastic as some other people do. So, all right, let's move on to Best Actor. So, you got Antonio Banderas for Pain and Glory, Leonardo DiCaprio for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Adam Driver for Marriage Story, Joaquin Phoenix for Joker, and Jonathan Pryce for The Two Popes. Let's get it out of the way. Adam Sandler got completely snubbed. He got snubbed out of this award nomination. You know, Jonathan Pryce for The Two Popes, I mean, no buzz. No one cares about that movie. Like, I never even talked to a single person who has given any ounce of shit about The Two Popes. But you know, I mean, and I like Jonathan Pryce. I mean, he's in one of my favorite movies of all time, which is Brazil. But he just, you know, it sucks because Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems, I think, is much more deserving here, and I think the vast majority of people who know what they're talking about would definitely agree with that. But you know, enough said. I'm gonna go with Joaquin Phoenix for Joker, obviously. I just think he gives an outstanding performance in that film. Even though it might not be his all-time greatest performance, I think it's quite outstanding, and, you know, it's definitely on a really high level of acting, and I think he's gonna win the award. He's won the awards in previous award ceremonies, and I just think the hype train is not gonna die, and he's definitely gonna get that award. So, for Best Actress, we have Cynthia Erivo for Harriet, Scarlett Johansson for Marriage Story, Saoirse Ronan for Little Women, Charlize Theron, Bombshell, and Renee Zellweger for Judy. So this one, I honestly think it's between Scarlett Johansson and Renee Zellweger. And at first, I picked Scarlett Johansson, but after just knowing the Oscars too well and what they do, I'm gonna have to go with Renee Zellweger. I'm not saying that she wasn't good in the film. I'm sure she's great in the film, but you know, there's no denying that it is the more Oscar baity type role. It's a more transformative type role, and it's also, I believe, it's based on an actual person. It's like a biopic kind of thing. So it just, you know, all the pieces kind of come together for the Academy to just pick her to win. So yeah, I don't know. I think Renee Zellweger is gonna take that award. I would be happy to see Scarlett Johansson win because I do think that she was fantastic in Marriage Story. So, I would be not upset with that upset. Huh? All right. So, Best Director Award, we got Martin Scorsese for The Irishman, Todd Phillips for Joker, Sam Mendes for 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Quentin Tarantino, and Bong Joon-ho for Parasite. All right, so this is also like a really hard category to predict. This one is quite the toss-up as well. But I really think it's between Sam Mendes, Bong Joon-ho, and Quentin Tarantino. And I'm going to give it to Sam Mendes, guys. I think people are going to be quite upset when Sam Mendes wins because, Bong Joon-ho is probably the more deserving. But, honestly, like, if I'm just going by, like, who maybe had the harder task and who had to deal with the most, who had the most difficult constraints and the difficult goal to achieve, I think that Sam Mendes did. And, if he wins, like, I wouldn't be that upset just because I do love the film 1917. I think it's a great film. And I think that Sam Mendes just did an incredible job directing that film. But, I mean, I'll admit that Bong Joon-ho, in terms of directing in the creative department, in terms of being more creative and bringing certain things to life in terms of the story and the characters, I think Bong Joon-ho wins definitely there. And I would be happy if Bong Joon-ho won. But like I said, I really wouldn't be upset if Sam Mendes won either. But I know a lot of people would. I know that a lot of people would just be absolutely devastated. But I just think from like a technical standpoint, Sam Mendes did do a killer job with that film. So, all right, guys, it's time for Best Picture. This is the big one. This is the big kahuna. So, Best Picture, you got Ford v Ferrari, The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Little Women, Marriage Story, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite. So, funny enough, because I have a film marked down here, I have my chosen film here on the list, but on my way over here, I kind of had second thoughts about it. So originally, I picked Once Upon a Time in Hollywood to win because apparently that film does have the highest odds to take the award. It's a safer choice. It's a real popular choice. It's a Tarantino film. And I think the Academy definitely eats up that film, especially since it's kind of a love letter to Hollywood at the same time. But after giving a lot of thought, I'm going to go with my gut here, and I'm going to give that award to Parasite. I think Parasite is going to end up winning Best Picture. Oh, God, it's really tough, guys, because, like, I think Parasite is obviously the best film. Like, if I'm going from an objective standpoint, I think Parasite is the most deserving out of all of these picks. But, the Academy doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. And a lot of times they just pick random shit. Like, last year they picked Green Book and, like, literally almost nobody saw that coming. Like, that film, like, didn't have much hype at all. But, it was a really safe pick for the Academy, and they picked it to win Best Picture. And it was just, I don't know, like, it's kind of upsetting because it really should be just like a sure thing that it goes to Parasite. But at this point, it could be random. Like, at this point, they could pick, like, fucking Ford v Ferrari, and no one would see it coming. They could pick Little Women, and it could win. Like, they could pick Marriage Story. They could pick 1917. I would not be surprised if 1917 came away with the Best Picture award. That would not surprise me in the slightest. So yeah, it's tough. I mean, The Irishman has a chance to win too. I wouldn't be upset with that, to be honest. Like, The Irishman is a fantastic piece of filmmaking. So, but I just think that, Parasite is the most deserving, and it has a shitload of hype too. Like, it's so much hype surrounding it. And one reason why I think why it might actually win is because it's just so accessible too. Like, last year, people, including myself, thought Roma was going to win. But what we didn't take into account is its accessibility. And, pretty much everybody outside of the film lover group doesn't really like Roma like that. But Parasite, it seems so accessible for really anybody who can get past the 1-inch barrier of subtitles. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know how much the Academy, takes that into account or anything. But I think that is one thing that it has going for it this time around in terms of a foreign film winning Best Picture. So those are my predictions for the 2020 Oscar ceremony. And like I said, we don't really know sometimes. For all I know, I could like last year I was super confident in all of my picks, and I had like the worst year I ever had. Usually I do really well with this, but last year I just totally shit the bed and I didn't do well at all. But you know, let's see what happens this year. Maybe they'll get it right. I don't know. But like I said, if you want to see me and the boys, me, Perry, and Eric, you know, if you want to hang out with us during the Oscars live stream, we would be more than happy to have you there with us. Just make sure to pay attention to your YouTube notifications around 8:15, 8:30ish on February 9th, Sunday. We'll be there chilling and streaming and having a good old time. Getting upset probably. All the bullshit's going to go down. So, yeah. Thank you so much for hearing out my Oscar predictions. That really means a lot for clicking on this video because there's probably a shitload of people giving their predictions. So thank you very much. If you really enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it amongst your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to be updated on more film-related content.